To develop our project, this is my Eclipse environment. File, new. I will create a new project, dynamic web project. So let my project name is grievance management system. So click on next button, then put a tick mark, then click on finish button. So you see one project structure that created. So this is my project structure. So server is Apache Tomcat. So here an external jar file that we have to bring, because some process file we will develop, and in that process file JDBC logic that we will write. So for executing JDBC code, an external jar file that we have to bring, since we are using MySQL as our database environment. So MySQL connector, so that is a jar file that I will bring. So right click on here src main java, build path, then configure build path, click on libraries, select module path, click on add external jar, and where you have you have kept your MySQL connector file, you go through that location. So MySQL connector is a jar file, so you have to download from Google, and you have to keep in a place, in a drive. So here I clicked on add external jar, then I went where I have kept this jar file, then I select, click on open, then click on apply, then click on apply and close. So when I configured this external jar file, so after successful configuration, you see in project structure, a folder will create automatically. So that is referenced libraries. So you see, so now this jar file came to my project structure. And if I want, then I can deploy this jar file also. How I will deploy? Right click on project properties, then go to properties. So go to deployment assembly option, click on apply option, then select src main java, click on add option, then click java build path entries, select, then click on finish, then click on apply, then click on apply and close. So I deployed again this MySQL connector jar file. Now everything is ready. So now what I will do, first I will create a login form. Okay, so student login form. So now I will go to a web folder, right click on web folder, new JSP. So let my file name is slogin, student login, click on finish button. And so a login form that I will create. So you see center, let suppose h1, I will put a head tag. So let this is student login form. So then I will end here h1. So here I will give a title that this is login form. Then I will write form action equals to student s login process.jsp file. So that means in this form, when any action will generate, s login process.jsp file will execute. So s login process.jsp file is a process file, or is, we can say, is the business logic file for s login.jsp. So now I will create this form by using table tag, table, then tr for first row, then td, let's username. So then TD, suppose username is a text box. So what I will write, input type equals to text, then let name equals to, so whatever we can write, let uname I will write. So TD I ended, then TR I ended. So this is for one row, username, and there is a text box. Simply I copied, then I pasted here. Then in place of username, I will write password. So input type equals to password, name equals to, let I will write pass. Then second row completed, means second attribute I specified, that is password. Then again I will paste. So then I will represent a command border. So that's why I remove this line. Input type equals to submit. Let value equals to let login. So in this way, third row completed. Now I will end table, then I will end form, then I will end center. So then Control S for saving. So in this way, a student login form that I completed. So I will go to my web.xml file. So in web.xml file, you see there are so many built-in welcome file lists are given. So you remove. Just I will specify which file will be my welcome file. Let this is slogin.jsp file. I saved. So now I will check whether this login form is coming to our picture or not. So I will go to my project, right click on project, run as, run on server, select the server. So click on next option, select the project name, click on finish button. So output will come in the form of a browser. Okay, so I got student login form, and this form have two attributes. One is username and one is password, and there is a command button. Then here my point is, suppose a student is coming to the application and student saw there is a login form, but student is a new user. So we will put a constraint. So any new user will come to the application, that new user have to do sign off first, because the student have no idea which username value or what password value that the student will give. If any value for username, any value for password, if the student will give, then student will go to the home page, then security constraint will not fulfill. So that will be a disadvantage. So we will what do a constraint. So any new student is coming to our application. So when a login form the student will see, then the student is, since the student will be a new user, the student have to registration first. So here I will give a one message that I will specify. So in which way that I can write. So in this form that also we can put it. So I think in my next record that I will put it. So I copied and I will paste here. Okay, so this part, so I will put a message, are you a new user? Are you a new user? Please do sign off first. Do sign off first. But sign off, so I will represent, or I will specify a hyperlink on sign off message. So please do this. So I can write in this way, a href equals to so this is anchor tag that I implemented here. So sreg.jsp, then sign off, So here anchor tag I ended. So that means my point is, so on sign off a hyperlink will create. Okay. So control S. So I will go to my output section. I will do a refresh button. Okay. So here, are you a new user? Please do sign off first. Okay. So uh, okay, just I will just change some decorum. One thing that I can do that. Okay, I copied. So I can put in that line also. I copied. I will paste here. So we'll check. Control S. So to the refresh button. Okay. So what I did, so in login button, so in this form, so just I changed. So input type equals submit. This is one row. So in this row, so second message, so I provided. So now this is my output. So now it is looking good. So this is my login form, and we considered as a student login form. Now when I will click on sign up button here, a hyperlink created. So when I will click on sign up button, so I will go to student registration form. So for that, so I have to develop a student registration form. So for this, I will go to web app folder, new JSP. So let sreg, suppose I will give the file name. Click on finish button. So this is a registration form that we have to develop. So let I will give the title registration form. So in which way that I developed login form, in same way that I can develop a registration form. So let's enter. So student registration form. Student registration form. Okay, so I will put a header H1. I will then end header. So in same way, then I will write form action. Form action equals to sreg process.jsp. So any action will generate in registration form. So sreg process.jsp file will execute. That means sreg process.jsp file is the business logic for sreg.jsp file. So same way in table, then tr first row I will start, then td. So first is registration number. So I will end td. My first attribute registration number is a text box. So I can write input type equals to text, name equals to, so I will give a registration number. So I will end td, then I will end tr. So this is one row and one attribute that I specified registration number. Now I will copy and I will paste here. Then after a registration number attribute, then I will take name attribute. Input type is equal to text, name equals to, suppose whatever I will give the what name. So suppose I took name equals to name. Then I will paste registration number, name, then semester. So here we can, in later on I will put decorum. That means one option that we can take. You can choose multi from a single option, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth semester, one semester option that we can check. Otherwise, directly you can write in this way semester. So name equals to let it semester. So then branch. So I will write next attribute branch. Name equals to branch. So then I will take username. So I will take username, input type equals to name, let name equals to username. Then I will take password. So input type equals to password, name equals to pass. Then so I will represent a command button, input type equals to submit, value equals to let value equals to suppose sign up. Whatever I can write. So in this way, all attribute that I specified, then I will complete table, then I will end form, then I will end center. So this is my student registration form. So you see, now I will go to my output section. Just I will do a refresh button. Now I will click on sign up button. You see, so I got a student registration form. And in the student registration form that I saw, how many attributes that I have taken, registration number, name, semester, branch, username, password. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in student registration form that I have taken 6 attributes. Now, when the user will put data here, so after putting information, when the user will click on sign up button, then data will go to the database and a response message that we will get. Then after successful registration, then the student will go to the login form. Then in registration form, whatever the username value, password value the student have taken, student will take. So that username value and password value, when the student will give in login form, then the student will go to home page. So first of all, we will go to my SQL environment, and in my SQL environment, I will create a database. Inside that database, I will create a student registration table. Based on this form that I will create a student registration table. So I will go to my SQL environment. Okay, so this is my SQL environment. So I will create a database first. So I will create a database. Let create database, database name. Let grievance database. Let GRIE grievance database. Okay, so in grievance database. So now I will hit run. So I will do the refresh button. So a database created, grievance database. Now I will create a table. So how to create a table? Create table, table name, database name dot table name. Let table name is student underscore registration. So create table, table name, then first registration number based on this form. Based on this form, registration number name. So registration number, let varchar 200. So I will consider as this will be primary key. Then name varchar 200, registration number, then name, then semester, branch, username, password, semester, Let varchar 200 semester branch. Let varchar 200 branch, then username varchar 200, then password varchar 200. So if this is my last column, so in last column there is no comma, then bracket n. So in this way that I created a table student underscore registration. So this table I created based on student registration form. In student registration form, there are 6 number of attributes that I have presented. So based on this form, I created a table student underscore registration table. Now I will hit run. So I executed now. So then I will check it. So I want to see the structure of a table. So describe this. I will hit run. You see, so this is my structure of a table. So this table I created. So registration number, name, semester, branch, username, password. So these are the columns that I considered. Then coming to my Eclipse environment. Okay, so in sreg.jsp, so already we have written here form action equals to sreg process.jsp file. So now we will go to this registration process file that we have to develop. So right click on web app folder, new JSP, sreg process. So I will click on finish button. So this is my process file. So simply in registration form, when we any student will give the data, so data will go to the database. So data will go to the database means inserting a record. One record will insert into a table. So inserting a record into a table. So in JDBC that already we have studied. So how to insert a record? Inserting a record is a DML operation. Execute update method that I have to call. So this point that already we have known. So first is here we have to import a package. So at the rate, add percentage at the rate phase import equals to so java.sql.star package, because I have to write some JDBC code. So that's why java.sql package I imported. Basically, this line in JSP is called as page directive. So now I will write the logic within a script tag. Okay, so first of all, I will process the form data that we have known how to process the form data. So by invoking get parameter method by request object, request dot get parameter method within bracket, what I will write in registration form. First, what we have written for registration number, I have written name equals to what the name equals to. You have written same exactly. You have to write here. So I have written registration number. So that means the value of registration number assigned in S1. Now I copied, so I can paste, because for each attribute I will process the form data. So 4, 5, then 6. So I can write in this way S2, S3, S4, S5, S6. So then for name, so I have written name, registration number, then name, then semester, branch, uname. So we have written name equals to semester, then branch, then uname. For username we have written, then for password we have written pass. So in this way we processed form data. That means registration number value will assign in into S1, name value will assign into S2 in this way. So we processed our form data. Now after processing the form data, we will write the JDBC code. So As per the analysis, it is a task of inserting a record into a table, and it is a DML operation. And if our requirement is DML operation to perform, so we have to execute update method. So execute update method is a such method which is returning an int value. So I will take, let my output variable is 0, let there is no record. So execute update method I have to call. Then we know that JDBC code by default throwing checked exception. So anywhere JDBC code we will write, so that we will write within a try block and catch block. The same concept first is what to load and for type 4 driver that we will load first, then establish the connection, then create the statement, then execute which method, execute update method, then close the connection. Whatever the JDBC logic, that the 5 number of steps that we will follow. So already we have written first to line, so it's common to. So in my other projects, just I am taking. So just I am taking two line. I copied and I will paste here. So first line is representing to load and register the type 4 driver for name method when it is invoking by a class named as class, and for name method taking one argument. That argument is the type 4 driver class name for my SQL database. So that is driver. This is the path. So when this line will execute, type 4 driver loaded, and this connection object, connection is an interface. So connection object is representing what, establishment of connection. Then question is how we are getting connection object. There is a static method, get connection method. Here for name is also a static method, because we know that static method directly invoking by a class. So here get connection method is a built-in method. When it is invoking by driver manager class, then it is returning connection object. So this method taking three arguments. One is URL. JDBC is my protocol, MySQL is my sub protocol, my database name, localhost is my server name, 3306 is my port number, and my database name is what? Grievance DB. Grievance DB. So my database name, and this is my second argument, default username, that is root, and this is my password value. When I have installed my SQL software, at that time whatever the password value that I had given, so that value that I will put here. Then step number 3, create the statement object. So here I will take prepared statement. So let ps equals to con dot, there is a method prepare statement method. So prepared statement method taking one argument. So that argument is our required SQL statement. So it is the task of inserting a record into a table. So I can write insert into table name. Table name is what? So what the table name that we have taken? Student underscore registration. So this exact table name that I will specify. So insert into table name, then values. So here within bracket, so there are 6 number of columns. So I will put 6 question marks. 1, 2, 3, then 4, then 5, then 6. So 6 question marks that I will put, because this is called as parameterized SQL statement. Prepared statement is an interface which is specifically used to execute parameterized SQL statement. Once we have taken parameterized SQL statement, immediately we have to set the value. Okay, so I can write setter method. I will call, so set return type, set string. So here 1 comma 1 for first column, registration number I have assigned into S1. So in this way that we will set the information by invoking setter method. So in this way, so 6 attributes, so 6 times I will call 1 2 3 4 5 6. So set string 1 for first column, 2 for second column, 3 for third column, 4 for fourth column, 5 for fifth column, 6 for sixth column. Then S2, then S3, then S4, then S5, then S6. So in this way that I called setter method. So this is the step number 3. So step number 1, to load and register the type for driver. Step number 2, establishment of connection. Step number 3, create the statement object. Now step number 4, execute the query. So my output variable that I have taken k equals to ps dot execute update method. I will call execute update method. Okay. So if I will write if logic, simple logic, I will write if k is greater than 0, because let k is 0, that means there is no record. If k is greater than 0, then another JSP file will execute. Suppose I will forward a request to another JSP file, response dot send redirect. Okay, so I can write, so I will write welcome.jsp. So if k is greater than 0, then welcome.jsp file will execute. So now try block completed. So once try block we have specified, then immediately it is mandatory that we have to represent catch block exception. Just I will write a dot print stack trace method. Just catch block, it is mandatory that we have to specify. So now in this way we completed this process file. Now there is no error. We will check. So whether it is working or not. So if the value of k is greater than 0, then welcome.jsp file will execute. So again I will create another JSP file. Let this file name is welcome. So simple one message I will display. So out.print method. So registration is successful. So we'll check so whether this message is coming or not. So I will save. So this is my registration form. Then this is my process file. This is my process file, and this is my welcome file. Now I will go to my output screen and I will do the refresh button. Okay, suppose I will I will come to back again. I will refresh button and I will click on sign off. Okay, so now so I will put suppose 109. Suppose I will give my registration number and I will give the name Priyanka. Semester, suppose I will write 8 or 7 semester. Suppose let branch is CSA, and let username, so whatever you can give the username. Suppose username is suppose Java. Suppose let password is SSS triple S. Suppose I have given. Now I will click on sign up button. Okay, you see, so happily we got message registration is successful. Now for getting more clarity, then I will go to the database. For getting more clarity, I will go to the database and we will check the table whether that record have inserted into this table or not. So how I will check? So select a star from this. So now I will hit run. You see, so in my registration form, whatever I had inserted the value 109 Priyanka 7 CSC Java triple S password, so it have come to the student registration table. Okay, so now coming to this point, coming to the Eclipse, suppose here in welcome.js file, so when a student is doing successful registration, then student is getting a message registration is successful. My point is, so when this message registration is successful, the student is getting, so on the spot we will specify a login link. So the student will click that link, then student will go to the login. login form. Otherwise, the student again have to what come to login form explicitly. So that will not be better. So the better idea is, so when the response message a student is getting, so on spot the student will click a link. So as a result, the student will go to the login form. So now after that we can write also, suppose one statement, suppose now please do login here. Suppose one message, suppose I will give within a paragraph, suppose let it, please do login here. So ahref equals to s login dot JSP. So please do login here. So then I will type anchor tag n. Okay, then I will end a paragraph. Suppose I will put here, then control S. Coming to this, coming to my outputs. Okay, so I will click a refresh button and you see, so I added this message, please do login here. Okay, so after doing refresh button and I saw this message, please do login here, and I will click and directly I got to student login form. Then my question is, I will which value for username and which value for password that I will give. So this point. So whatever the username value here Java and password triple S. So in registration form, whatever the student have given the username value and password value, the student have given that username value and password value. So in login form here it will give, then the student will click on login button, then the student will go to home page.